This fake HOA cop had the nerve to keep ramming his truck into my mailbox over and over like I wouldn't notice the same dented bumper showing up every morning. The last time he did it, I watched him smirk as he drove off, convinced he'd get away with destroying my property again. That was the moment I decided the next mailbox he hit would hit back. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. My name is Jordan, and for the longest time, I thought living in this neighborhood would be peaceful. Quiet mornings, weekend grilling, friendly neighbors, that kind of life. And it was peaceful until the HOA hired a man named Briggs. Briggs wasn't a real cop. He wasn't even close. But he wore a vest labeled HOA cops like it meant something. Strutted around with aviator sunglasses and acted like he ran the entire block. He wrote people up for the most ridiculous violations. But for some reason, he seemed to have a special interest in me. It started with warnings, then threats, then harassment, but none of it compared to what he did to my mailbox. The first time it happened, I woke up to find it lying flat on the ground, with splintered mailbox crushed like a soda can. I figured maybe a teenager drove by too close. Accidents happen, so I replaced it. 2 days later, it happened again. Same angle, same tire marks, same early morning timing. Still, I gave the benefit of the doubt. But by the fourth time, no. Someone was doing this on purpose. I set an early alarm one morning just to see what was going on. I sat in my window with a cup of coffee and watched Briggs drive by slow, then suddenly cut his wheel, clip the side of my mailbox, and laugh as it snapped off the post. Laugh like it was funny. He didn't even speed away, just casually rolled off, as if destroying my property was part of his morning routine. That was when I lost my patience. I confronted him the next day. He stood there with his hands on his belt like a budget action movie cop. "Sir, maybe you should secure your mailbox better. Wouldn't want it falling over." "It didn't fall," I said. "You hit it." He tilted his head, smirking. "You got proof of that?" "Proof? No, but I had eyes, and I had a memory, and I knew the look of someone who thought he was untouchable. The next time it happened, I stormed into the HOA office. The president, Marka, didn't even pretend to care. "Briggs would never do that," she said flatly. "Maybe you should consider installing a sturdier mailbox." Right then, the idea snapped into place. A sturdier mailbox. Fine. I'd give them a mailbox so sturdy, not even Briggs's truck would survive it. By the time I walked out of that office, I already knew what my next move was. A hidden camera, a reinforced steel core, a mailbox that looked normal. And the next time Briggs hit it, he wouldn't be smirking, he'd be screaming. Marka thought she was being clever when she said, "Maybe you should consider installing a sturdier mailbox." If only she knew how seriously I took that suggestion. That same afternoon, I drove to a metal fabrication shop across town and bought a steel core thick enough to stop a small car. The kind of steel you don't bend without machinery. The kind of steel you'd only expect to see in bank vaults, not in someone's front yard. I brought it home, drilled it deep into the ground, cemented it into place, then built a perfectly normal-look wooden mailbox shell around it. From the outside, totally innocent. On the inside, a brick wall disguised as a mailbox. But the upgrade alone wasn't enough. If Briggs was going to keep ramming into it, I wanted proof this time. So, I mounted 2 cameras, one hidden in a birdhouse facing the road, and another tucked behind a bush angled toward the driveway. Both activated by motion, both recording in crystal clear HD. By midnight, everything was ready and right on schedule. The idiot showed up. The sound of his truck engine humming down the street woke me instantly. He always came around the same time, like his little mailbox destruction ritual was part of his nightly route. I peeked through the blinds and saw the familiar sight. Briggs creeping past my house, slowing down like a shark circling bait. He turned his wheel, picked up speed, aimed straight at the mailbox. Only this time, the mailbox aimed back. He hit it head-on, with a crunch so loud I felt it inside my chest. His entire front end folded in like a soda can, metal twisting, headlights shattering, hood popping up like a trapdoor. The airbag blasted him backward into the seat. For a second, everything went silent. Then the screaming began. Briggs stumbled out of the truck, clutching his mangled arm, howling like a wounded animal. His knees buckled, and he nearly face-planted into the grass, trying to stay upright. By the time I stepped outside, I didn't even bother hiding the smile on my face. I walked out in my robe, sipping my coffee like it was the best morning brew I'd ever tasted. "Rough time?" I asked him. He glared at me, sweat dripping down his forehead. "You sabotaged it. You rigged it to hurt me." "Rigged?" I laughed. "Briggs, that's a perfectly legal mailbox. Maybe you should consider driving on the road instead of into my yard." Neighbors began pouring out of their houses, phones already recording the hysterical scene. Briggs staggered toward them, still holding his arm. "He attacked me," Briggs shouted. "He set this up. He's trying to kill me." "Yeah," one of the neighbors said, "by building a mailbox." "Sure, dude." Marka came sprinting down the street, hair wild, face red, rage practically dripping off her. "What did you do to my officer?" I gestured to the truck. "Looks like he did it to himself." Marcia stomped closer, jabbing her finger at me. "This is your fault. You attacked an HOA officer." Briggs whimpered louder, clutching his arm. "He set me up. Arrest him." Neighbors shook their heads. One yelled, "Bro, you drove into a mailbox." The chaos grew, yelling, phones recording, Briggs groaning on the grass. That's when my next-door neighbor, Mr. Thomas, stepped forward. "I'm calling the police," he said simply. This clown could have killed someone. Briggs's eyes widened. No, don't call them. We can handle this internally." But it was too late. Mr. Thomas was already on the phone with 911, giving the address and explaining exactly what happened. Marcia's face went pale. She knew the moment real cops got here, their little HOA protection bubble was done. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe, because the story is only going to get better. The police arrived fast, faster than anyone expected. And the second those cruisers pulled up, Briggs went from tough guy to trembling mess on the grass. He tried to straighten up and look official. But with one arm bent the wrong way, and his truck wrapped around my mailbox, he looked more like a cartoon villain who just run into a brick wall. Two officers stepped out. One looked at Briggs, then at the demolished truck, then at my perfectly intact mailbox. "What happened here?" the officer asked. Before Briggs could speak, Marcia jumped in. "Officer, arrest him. He attacked an HOA law enforcement officer and built a dangerous structure to injure him." The cop raised an eyebrow. "HOA law enforcement officer?" Briggs nodded rapidly. "Yes, I serve this community. He's hostile. I didn't respond. I simply pointed at my house." "Camera's rolling," I said. "You'll want to see the footage." The officer followed me inside, and I'd played the video from the moment Briggs lined up his truck like a battering ram. The knife sharp impact, the crumpling hood, the airbag exploding, the neighbors watching everything. When the video ended, the officer turned slowly toward Briggs, expression hardening. "So you intentionally rammed his mailbox?" Briggs stuttered. "No, that video is edited." He doctored it. The officer cut him off. "Your truck is sitting in his yard, son, and your arm is broken." The second officer examined the vest Briggs was wearing. "This isn't real law enforcement gear. It's not even proper security equipment. No ID, no badge, No certification. Marcia swallowed hard. We authorized him. He's HOA enforcement. HOA doesn't have enforcement. The officer corrected flatly. You can't pretend you do. Under pressure, Briggs cracked immediately. Okay, fine. She hired me, he cried, pointing straight at Marcia. She told me to keep him in line and to destroy the mailbox every time it looked too fancy. She said he was disrespecting the HOA. Marcia's jaw dropped. I never said that. Shut up. He kept talking, desperate to save himself. She paid me cash, no paperwork, told me to make it look like accidents. The crowd gasped. Phones kept recording. Karen was done. The officers turned to her next. Ma'am, you're under arrest for conspiracy, property damage, falsifying authority, and hiring someone to commit harassment. No, you can't do this to me. I am the HOA, she shrieked as they cuffed her. That's the problem, one officer muttered. Briggs was taken to the hospital first, handcuffed to the stretcher. Once he was stable, he was transferred straight to jail. The investigation that followed revealed everything. Marcia forged documents to make Briggs look official. She ordered him to intimidate homeowners. She specifically targeted me because I questioned authority. In the end, Briggs received 4 years in prison, a $10,000 fine, and lost his driver's license. Marcia got 2 years, was removed from the HOA, charged with conspiracy and harassment, and banned from holding any position of authority again. The community apologized for ever doubting me. We voted in a new HOA board. Peace finally returned to the neighborhood. And as for me, I rebuilt the mailbox. Even stronger this time because if anyone else thinks about driving through my yard, my mailbox is always ready to hit back.